What's going on, film fans? This is Brad from Let's Be Real Brad, and today on the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new Marvel Studios superhero film to open in theaters this weekend for the summer movie season, and that is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It is directed by Sam Raimi, as the stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, Benedict Wong, and Xochitl Gomez. It is a sequel to 2016's Doctor Strange and the 28th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was really excited for this one because Kevin Feige came out and said that they were trying to make this brand new Doctor Strange movie the scariest Marvel film yet, and we all know with Sam Raimi, he has dove into the horror genre plenty of times in his filmography, and that was one of the reasons why I was super excited for this movie. I think most fans were also excited because this is a direct follow-up from Spider-Man No Way Home and the miniseries on Disney Plus, WandaVision, and everything was all going to tie together and dive into what fans have been wanting for a long time, which is the multiverse. So now that we have finally got the film, I can say that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a really good movie. I think for people who haven't seen any of Sam Raimi's movies, I think they're going to be put off by it a little bit because it is not the same boring Marvel shtick that we've been seeing for quite some time now, especially with many of the Disney Plus Marvel shows. And this movie just gets very creative and different, especially in the way that this movie is presented and shot, which there's a lot of callbacks to the Evil Dead trilogy, Drag Me to Hell, and even Darkman, if you have seen that movie, which is really underrated, by the way. This feels like a Sam Raimi movie with feeling like Marvel Studios let him have a lot of creative control for this movie, and that is what made it so enjoyable. But one of the best aspects about this movie has got to be the performances here, as Benedict Cumberbatch once again stars as Doctor Strange, and he is terrific. He is coming off of being nominated at the Academy Awards for Best Actor for The Power of the Dog. He is perfect as Doctor Strange, and the film was able to explore this character in such an interesting and deeper way like they did with Tony Stark. Elizabeth Olsen once again comes back as the Scarlet Witch, and she is once again fantastic here, but I think she's able to dive deeper into this character and make her a more emotionally investing character who is just a very complicated person and filled with all this crazy madness, no pun intended. I found the musical score in this movie to be excellent, as Danny Elfman has come back to work with Sam Raimi, as he has worked with him plenty of times, especially with the Spider-Man trilogy. As we all know that Danny Elfman is literally a legend at this point, and he makes another great score. It feels like there was a lot more effort that went into the look of this movie, especially in the more dreamlike sequences that happen. And when you get into the second half of the film, the movie looks really good and dark and creepy, and it just adds to the atmosphere that Sam Raimi was trying to create. This movie is filled with a ton of action sequences here, and they all look splendid, as all the choreography is just on point like you would expect for a Marvel Studios $200 million movie. Everybody looks great. All the action is fun and entertaining and exciting. Unfortunately, this film does have a lot of negatives here, and the first one has got to be the pacing, as this is a really slow movie. But this movie does feel like it takes a while for things to get going, as there is a lot of heavy dialogue scenes, but with the dialogue being so poor and it talks down to the audience so much in the movie that I didn't really care about the heavy dialogue. I also found the visual effects in this movie to be really mediocre, considering that Marvel Studios is like the biggest studio that is working on movies today, and there are a few sequences in this movie that just looked like Spy Kids, especially in the opening scene in this movie, that just looks so horrible. I know this is something I've complained about consistently about Marvel using a ton of green screen and a lot of CGI here, and it is still a big criticism I have with this movie, where so much of it is relied on it that it's just starting not to look as good. This movie features way too many characters, and they're not handled all that well. The story goes into so many different places, and while I do like it for the fact that it's really scary and just crazy, you don't really know what's going on in an atmospheric way, but in a logistical, trying to follow this narrative, I just was getting so lost with this movie. And I'm someone who pretty much knows every single character and every universe that each character is from because, you know, I'm a Marvel nerd. We had another multiverse movie that came out a few weeks ago, and that is Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I think is the best film of 2022. But with that movie just coming out a few weeks ago and being so fresh in my mind and being so amazing, I do feel like this movie is just not as good. Now, Everything Everywhere All at Once was such a small indie movie that probably shouldn't have been made, whereas this is a big budget $200 million movie that has all the resources in the world, the biggest fans in the world, and they still don't make the story as interesting and passionate as they did with Everything Everywhere All at Once, that handled the multiverse so well, and you knew exactly what was going on, and it was so creative and so fun. So overall, guys, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a really good entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as I can't wait to check this movie out again. The movie features a ton of great cameos here that audiences are going to stand up and cheer and be all excited for, and that's why I think that the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a big recommend, and I give it a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review, as I hope you guys hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the next and upcoming videos.